going on, Jerome's? So your Minnesota Vikings are allegedly 2-4, but all four of the losses easily could have been wins. It's a clear case of coulda, woulda, shoulda. But if the Vikings are going to indeed get off the mat because the season is still young, can make a run at this thing, even without Justin freaking Jefferson for the next couple of games, they got a lot of things to clean up. So here are 9 improvements the Vikings need to make going forward. Number 1, smarter football, where it's really frustrating because, I mean, these guys have obviously played the game since they were toddlers. I mean, Pop Warner football and all that stuff. But it just seems frustrating this year that in situational football, they've been very poorly coached and underprepared and unprepared, and that is on the coaching staff. Like, to a degree, yes, players should know what to do in these spots, but it just seems like in high-pressure spots, especially before and after the half, they just look clueless, right? So going through and cleaning up penalties and just getting better in situational spots, and also comes down to calling better plays situationally too. And frankly, Kevin O'Connell and Flores have, to a degree, been outcoached in the second half, and that comes down to adjustments as well. So it's not just on the players, it's not just on the coaches. Everyone together needs to play smarter and cleaner football. And number 2, stop fumbling. I mean, that's a pretty damn key one. 11 fumbles on the season, and it's inexcusable at this point. Ball security, ball security, ball security. Don't give the other team an extra possession, and don't put your defense in poor field position. And the Vikings have done that time and time again. And they've only won the turnover battle once, and that was in the win against the Bears. They lost it against the Panthers, and frankly, it did make the difference against the Bucs, the Eagles, the Chargers, and the Chiefs. And if they stop doing that, and frankly get a little bit of puck luck and get some turnovers go their way, as evidence in the Bears game, I think the Vikings could potentially go on a run. Number 3, stop dropping the ball, or stop dropping passes. There you go. It's good pod. So stop dropping passes, where it's almost become like an epidemic, where they've had 12 drops over the last 2 games and 4 by TJ Hawkinson, and it's guys that you need to step up, especially in the absence of Justin Jefferson. And it's I know that Kirk Cousins sometimes unduly gets a lot of criticism, and some of these spots are he's putting the ball in a good spot, a catchable ball, and the receiver gets 2 mitts on it, and they just can't come up with it. Now, sometimes, yes, degree difficulty is there, like Hawkinson on the 3rd and forever, the Jordan Addison up the sideline shot, but if you get 2 mitts on the ball, you got to catch it. And the Vikings right now are running very poorly in terms of getting it done that phase. The Vikings are 2 of 13 on 3rd down. Drop passes are a big deal there. And Madison, I mean, it's really frustrating, man, because, I mean, Dalvin Cook surely lost a step, but he was at least decent in terms of bringing in these short, low flare passes that you could turn upfield and get something big. And Madison, I mean, if he catches that screen pass against the Chiefs, I mean, it's a tie ball game. So it's just so incredibly frustrating at this point. They got to get that cleaned up. Number 4, more consistent pass rush. So the Vikings are leading the league in blitz percentage by a large margin, and Flores sent, they blitz like 70% of the snaps against the Bears. Now, if the Vikings could get a more consistent pass rush with 4, that would be ideal. Where, again, I love being aggressive, but if you're able to get home with 4 and drop 7, that's going to be a big-time problem for the quarterbacks the Vikings are facing. And one of the reasons why the Vikings do blitz so much, you look at the Vikings, look at the Giants, is because guys can't win up front. And Daniil obviously is getting it done with 8 sacks, and also tied for the league lead in sacks, tied for tackles for loss. But who else is getting it done? Davenport for a hot second, Wanham recently, but who along the defensive line is constantly winning? It's not Lowry, it's not Phillips, it's not Jonathan Bullard, and it's just so frustrating, man, because one of the reasons why Murphy has struggled, one of the reasons why Evans has gotten cooked a time or two, is because the Vikings are constantly in man coverage, and that's a live by the sword, die by the sword situation. But getting a more consistent pass rush, even with just 5, and even if you're just sending Metellus or Harrison, and you're sending 5 and dropping 6, I think that would potentially be more advantageous for the Vikings. But also, the guys up front have to start winning their one-on-ones. Using Jaquelin Roy makes a lot more sense if they want to manufacture a pass rush with the front 3. Next up, number 5. get gel along the offensive line. So even though the analytics say the Vikings offensive line has been great, and Darrisaw, trust me, has become one of the best young left tackles in the game. O'Neal has had ups and downs, but overall he's been very good. Bradbury has become a top 10 adjacent center, which is a development that isn't talked about enough over the last couple of years. Ezra was playing good before he got injured. Ed Ingram has improved. Like, his last game was actually pretty okay against the Bears. But if Reisner has to step in with Ezra, as he has that foot injury, they got to gel very quickly. And they got to get more of a push along the offensive line in the run game. Even though, yes, the Bears were stacking the box, I wish Kevin O'Connell would have adjusted more. But they have to get back to having the run game that they had against the Chargers, against the Panthers. It does protect Kirk, where the Vikings aren't just in pass mode. Also keeps play action viable, and just go from there, man. And speaking of play action, number 6, utilize play action more. I was really shocked with Justin Jefferson out. The chance that the Vikings can just drop back and throw and sling it all over the yard are reduced. And one of the reasons why the run game at Madison was so inefficient against the Bears, like 2.4 yards per carry, was because the Bears were constantly having heavy boxes, 7, 8, sometimes 9 dudes down in the box. And I was really shocked that in O'Connell and Phillips' game plan, how come there wasn't more use of play action and taking a shot deep, try to lighten up that box, try to make things easier for Madison, try and get one big time play down the field where you got Addison streaking down the sideline, or Hawkinson in the middle of the field, or KJ or Powell on the outside. I don't understand it. And Kirk Cousins is one of the more highly rated play action quarterbacks. He's consistently in the top 5 to 6. So I don't know why they don't utilize that more, especially since they're playing heavier packages that tend to lead to runs. And without Justin Jefferson, they have to change what they're doing. Like, frankly, they have to become more of a Brock Purdy, San Francisco 49ers type offense in that regard. Next up, number 7. More Akers, less Madison. And again, I understand that Madison struggled because of the loaded box against the Bears, but Madison 2.4 yards per carry against Chicago, 2 drops, also 2 key missed blocks that did not help things. And Akers has shown a little bit of burst, and he's ripping off some nice runs. He's got a high yards per carry. I do think that Madison is a solid receiver. I think Akers is better, and also Madison might be in his own head right now in terms of the drops. Akers would not be, and he's had a couple weeks now to get integrated into the offense, and I think Cam Akers would be a better change of pace right now than Madison. And it's a spot where see what happens, have both of them very involved in the game plan, maybe get some Ty Chandler in there as well, and hot hand. Whoever's got it that day stays in and gets more of the work. That's how it should be. Next up, number 8, Hawkinson needs to be a hero. So Hawkinson has had a rough couple of games. All right, so Hawkinson had the fumble against the Chargers, dropped the game winner, was whatever against the Chiefs, had 3 drops against. Was whatever against the Panthers, had 3 drops against the Chiefs, had 2 more against the Bears, and it was just a mess. It was just an absolute mess. And Hawkinson, with JJ out, he has to be the guy. He is the highest paid pass catcher on this team. With incentives, he will be the highest paid tight end in NFL history. He's got to start acting like it, man. He's got to start earning that contract, dude. And lastly, number 9, Addison and KJ separation. So play action plays a big part in that as well, but also Kevin O'Connell, West Phillips do have to get a better job of just manufacturing guys open, whether it's tunnel screens, whether it's coming out of bunch, whether it's coming out of 12 or 13 personnel, whatever. But Addison and KJ, they got to start winning their one-on-ones too, because things are going to be a little bit tougher without JJ constantly getting double teamed and potentially triple teamed, and also just always having the attention of the defense, so they can cover a little bit more evenly on the Vikings receivers. But Addison and KJ, they got to win their one-on-ones. They got to get better separation. Addison 3 for 28 and a touchdown on 5 against the Bears. KJ 4 for 48 on 5, which is solid, but you need more. You need more replacing the stats of Justin Jefferson. Actually, one more. Screw it. This is what we do. We do bonus stuff. Kevin O'Connell stops calling plays. And I know that that's harsh, and I don't say this lightly, but it's very clear that he can't juggle both jobs of both managing the game as a head coach and calling plays as the play caller. And dump plays off, play calling off to Wes Phillips is up in the booth, has advantage on things, has a better perspective on things, and it would free things up. And also, it would speed up the communication, which has been extremely slow this year. And I think part of it is, you look at guys like, you look at Sean McVay, you look at Andy Reid, you look at stupid-ass Sean Payton. Like, those guys can juggle, well, except for Sean Payton this year. Those guys can juggle managing the game as well as calling plays because they have the experience. Kirk and Kevin O'Connell doesn't have that experience in either job. So I think that him trying to do both and learn on the fly, it's admirable. It worked out at times last year, but this year it's glaringly deficient. And I think that KOC taking a break and kicking things upstairs, yes, he can have input, but I think it would certainly speed up the communication between Phillips and Kirk Cousins versus Kevin O'Connell sorting things out on the sidelines, talking to the refs, make sure that the right personnel is in, and then getting the play call in before it cuts off at 15 seconds. It would streamline things, and frankly, I think it would make everyone better. I really think so at this point. But that's it. That's 9. Well, 10 improvements the Vikings need to make right meow. Let us know your thoughts on our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.